If January told us one thing immediately, buyers, they have options. Sellers, you know what? They have competition. So, Matt, I don't know if you're aware. Well, yes, you know what I've been doing now since last June. I look at what the inventory is on the market, and then I analyze how many homes came to the market.
Yeah.
So when January opened up, there was 978 homes.
Yes.
And 646 of them, sorry, I'm lying to you now. So there was 978 homes on the market in total.
Okay, yeah.
646 of them came over from 2025.
Carried forward, yeah.
Yeah, and because we never tracked that before.
Yeah.
So when you see the amount of homes that were bought over, what is that? What comes to mind when you think of that?
I mean, ultimately, you're right, because that all has to be measured in the inventory. So you identified this, some time ago, that we were measuring how many came on the market during the month of January versus how many sold during the month of January.
Yeah.
But that totally doesn't include the ones that just failed to sell prior to that are still on the market, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it indicates exactly what you're saying, is that there is choice out there for buyers right now, right? All of the conditions that we think about when buyers have choice have to exist. You have to get the right price on the house if you're going to sell it. Buyers are going to make a little longer decision on it. There's more negotiation. All that stuff's going to be true.
Yeah, it's I can't believe that none of us looked at that before.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important that when you think it's 70% of the inventory is selling, there's only 22.
That's right, exactly. Yeah,
right, and then I think having the more knowledge that you can give to a seller about the market. Like I had a client this morning, and we were talking about price reductions. So I'm not calling about a price reduction just because the house hasn't moved, but I'm calling hey, let's just talk about the stats of what's been happening.
Yep.
And it was so much easier to have those conversations because
the real data.
And I think the real data means something. And I don't know what kind of feedback you're getting from other agents in the office now. What are they saying about buyers when, are they noticing anything different about the buyers? Because I'd be interested to learn.
Yeah, definitely more picky. They feel like they have a little bit more of an upper hand, even though the numbers don't necessarily always bear that out in every market that we're in. They feel like they have the ability to be more patient. They're looking for something that is, more move-in ready again. All the conditions that we saw sort of prior to the big run-up when there was massive competition for everything. All that seems to be kind of back again, where they can be a little bit more patient, look for the stuff that's finished, wait around for a perceived deal, that kind of thing. So that is a different behavior.
Yeah, you know what I saw as well? Is that if you are committed to living on this side of the bridge, the Halifax side of the bridge, you'll go from Spryfield, Fairview, Clayton Park, Bedford, maybe even Sackville. So I've noticed that the buyer isn't necessarily location specific.
Interesting, yeah.
They are price point.
Interesting, yeah.
And I don't, and tell me if you've had conversations about this, but to me, I don't work with buyers, but I have a big enough inventory of listings because I read every feedback that I get. And I'm seeing that, you know what I said to a client this morning? I said, based on what I've saw now the past 3 months, so what I'm seeing out from the buyers now, talking to that client this morning, I said, they don't care about the roof or the heat pump being upgraded, and she mentioned that she had moved the oil tank to the outside. And I said, I just sold a property, new roof, new windows. That's the heavy lifting that's done. And and the property was, mid 600s.
Yes.
People want lipstick.
I'm just going to say that it's hard to sell the inner functions of a house. That are the things that are unsexy to fix up, right? You put a new countertop in the kitchen, you put a new coat of paint on the walls, all that stuff is the stuff that people immediately come in and get connected to, and they totally discount some of those things that are the general. But I
don't understand.
maintenance.
Like a roof could cost up to $30,000.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the conversation I had was around a septic tank that someone had replaced a septic tank that was, I forget what it was. It was probably about 30 years old, 35 years old. And, there's a significant expense to that,
yeah,
right?
around 26 grand.
And no value ascribed to that at all, right? From the buyers that were coming in, so they just kind of dismissed it immediately. They looked at it and like, oh, great, and moved on to the next thing, right? So, yeah.
And even, I see people, oh, a metal roof is going to give you, ROI. No, it's not.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's so funny that, putting in a granite countertop, let's say $6,000 or whatever that would cost for your island.
That's right.
It's. I've always said, sex doesn't sell houses, right?
Yeah.
But sexy.
Sexy looking houses sell more quickly than the ones that are, well built or well maintained.
Now, I just talked to you about, I feel that buyers are very, they're price point sensitive.
Yeah.
And I would say that is under 700,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Under 800.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're over $1 million, I believe that is location.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So,
so what kind of, if you look at the office again, there's 300 of us, like what is the sentiment from the buyer agents that you're seeing? Like, what are they?
I would argue that the majority of the people who work more with buyers have a lot of people in their pipeline, let's say, people who have put their hand up and said, I have some interest in buying something. When that was happening in the past, you knew that the struggle or the constraint was going to be, can I find them a house, right? Now, as they're working with these people, I was talking with a lady this morning who has like 6 buyers that she's working with. And what the challenge is for her is she has no real idea of what their timeline is. How deeply motivated are they? Are they ready? If the right house comes up, are they going to jump at that, or are they going to say, yeah, but I'm going to wait and see what else comes along, right? So that's really the adjustment that the people working with buyers have had to make is, buyers there's a less sense of urgency around everything. So they're having to kind of be there, and which is fine. We've dealt with this all the way along. I'm not suggesting that's a bad thing. I like that buyers have choice. I like that buyers have the ability to negotiate and take their time. It's a massive decision. It felt unhealthy. You remember it when people were having to make a decision on a $700,000 house with a 10-minute viewing and no inspection. Like that didn't feel good to a lot of buyers' agents.
No, it didn't.
Right?
It was...
But so that's the change.
Do you think sellers realize that buyers? No, they don't, do they?
They don't. Yeah, that's the big shift, right? Is that the sellers have to come around to that, right? Because you are a heavy listing agent, right? And so I'm sure you experienced this where you put a house on the market, even if it's well priced, you're having some sellers who say, we've been on the market for 4 days. What's going on, right? 4 days is not a reasonable market time. That's what it was during an exceptional period of our market. But people are going to take their time to make a decision now. So you have to be able to be prepared for that.
Thank God I don't have those conversations because it's for every, speaking with that client this morning, she goes, I read your emails every week. I love that stuff. I know that stuff. And, just when you think that no one reads it, because, I'm not talking about gutters. I'm talking like, this is raw. Like, these are the deals that are terminating. These are the deals that are coming back. Or, so I think...
Well, this is what I think makes a good agent, and this is why I've always maintained that you're the best. Is that
now? Look, I didn't pay you to say any of that. You know that, right?
Yeah. But we don't get paid as agents for just the transaction. We get paid for all of the advice in between them too, right? And so you do an exceptional job of keeping people informed so that they can make the right decision for them and their housing needs. In between deals is where the money is earned, I would say that way, right? Not, you're ready to sell your house. Now I'm going to show up last minute and try and stick a sign out front. I've earned that opportunity by keeping you up to date on what's going on in the market. So that's why I appreciate all you do.
Speaking of that, I had one client, and we are now like 2 weeks into the listing, 2 or 3 weeks. She goes, "Why aren't you sending me the information? How many people are looking at my listing online?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I sent that to you every week, you'd be so upset. You'd be even more angry that your house isn't selling. Because I took the listing over from another agent. And I'm like, why would I stress you out that way?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not worth it. But the client this morning that I'm going to meet next week, she asked me if it was a good time to list. Now, her house would be in the 800s.
Okay, yeah.
So given what happened on Wednesday with the Nova Scotia Credit Union and the government,
absolutely.
Even though it's 6%, I think it's a great time.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the people who are looking to potentially move up, there's now going to be a potential pool of buyers wanting to buy the first entry home.
Absolutely.
Now these people can move up.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think, unlocking that part of the market is important, right? And, we've talked in previous times where we've gotten together about how much the sort of rental market is upside down right now. And so if, the units that we've built and rented out, we're renting out at a number that's higher than what you would carry them at if you had the down payment. So if the down payment's the only thing keeping people from getting into it initially, they make that easier for people. Yes, it's going to be $30 more on their monthly payment, but they're still probably getting in and maintaining it for cheaper than they would if they had to rent the same house.
I don't know.
So in some cases, not every case for sure. Like, but some of the low-rise stuff that I've seen, that seems to be the case. Once you get up in the 800,000 range, again, not the case, right? You're not charging $6,000 a month in rent or $5,000 a month in rent. But at that entry level, like if you're renting a three-bedroom house, three-bedroom, semi or something like that, you're probably in the $2,600 range, and you could carry it for $24,000. So,
so that makes sense.
Even if it was equal or slightly more to carry it, you're paying yourself, right?
Oh, I know.
So finding the way, that's what I like about the announcement that we've just seen from the province, is that you're taking away that little barrier of getting in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, thank you once again for coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it. Always fun.
Thank you.